I am very excited for this best of 3 series of top-level StarCraft 2. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where we're looking inside of the main base of the Terran player who goes by the name of Maru. Now, Maru, the most successful tournament player from South Korea, he doesn't play in a whole lot of events because he is one of the very few StarCraft 2 millionaires, making more than $1 million in tournament earnings over the years, and obviously, because of it, he doesn't play in the $100 weekly or the $200 weekly. He generally likes to hide his strategies, and I haven't seen him play in probably a month or two. It's been a while. His opponent, this time around, spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, he's from Italy, and he goes by the name of Reynor. Now, this particular series is from the RSL. The new season of the RSL has started up. Very excited for it. Reynor, of course, has been spending a lot of time over in Korea lately. And even though he has been playing a little bit of League here and there too, at the very least I saw him streaming a bunch of League of Legends recently, there's no denying that his StarCraft gameplay has been looking very solid. So I don't really know exactly what to expect from Maru here. Sometimes, right, there's like two options. Either players don't sign up for tournaments because they're hiding strategies, or players don't sign up for tournaments because they're not playing. It's been like 2 months since I've last seen Serral compete in a StarCraft 2 event myself. He did not play in the RSL this time around either, so I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what sort of Maru we're going to get here, but in my mind, this should be a very even matchup. But there's no denying, though, if you do take a bit of a break, even if you're only playing an hour here, an hour there, right? Like, certainly your skill level is not going to degrade much. But Reynor is currently in shape. And if Maru is not, well, we will notice very quickly. It's going to be a Reaper opener here to start things off. A Reaper into a command center on the low ground. Already a cheeky Overlord right over here, hiding on top of that pillar. We are, by the way, on Celestial Enclave LE. LE, of course, standing for Ladder Edition. This is one of the brand new maps that has now, well, officially made it onto the StarCraft 2 ladder. So let's see, where can we go from here? A little bit of a skill check, of course. Oh, well, you know what? It's a very effective skill check. There is no room over here behind that mineral field to morph in a Spore Crawler. So Reynor actually losing a drone there in a pretty sloppy fashion. Celestial Enclave. This is a map that has that in-base expansion. That isn't a full base. It's also not a half base. It's like a 60%-ish base. Normal bases in StarCraft 2 have 8 mineral fields. This one has 5. Now, I love this here. What it also features is, I think this may actually be the first official ladder map that has a little path that only workers can go through. So whenever you see this, we're going to likely see it a lot more down in the future as well. But I think it may actually be on another map too. Either way, these weird-looking, yeah, I guess skinny minerals right over here, they can only be walked on by workers. So Zerglings don't fit, Zealots don't fit, Reapers are not going to be able to go through it either, only workers, and that is how Maru ended up scouting exactly what Reynor was going for. Ah, another drone dice. Very sloppy here by Reynor thus far. You are allowed to take a bit of damage, maybe lose a Zergling or so. One drone is kind of the limit. In my mind, actually, it's already over the limit. Losing 2 drones to a Reaper, while also getting the full scout, I think that's something that Maru can be very happy with. Now, this is actually a super aggressive build by Maru in the end, too. So it's a Reaper start, straight into triple command center, into triple barracks. Double upgrades as well going down behind the main base's mineral line. Meaning that we're not dealing with any, like, double production on the Hellions. We are not going into any Cloaked Banshees or Liberators or Speed Banshees or anything along those lines. This is going to be a straight-up timing attack with an insane amount of Marines. And I quite like this here, actually, from Maru. I'm assuming we're going to lift the command center. Does he not know there's an Overlord? I mean, this is a fake move out right over here. He just wants to force this Zerg to make as many links as possible, and yeah, Reynor will indeed have to comply. There's no way he's actually going to attack with this. I'd be very surprised, unless he believes he can kill this base over here on the low ground? He hasn't even seen it. Technically a very risky play, but let's think about it for a little bit. What have Zerg players been doing so far on the new patch? They've been skipping Roach Warrants. They've been skipping Banelingness. They've been going straight lair, straight double upgrades. I find this a little silly, honestly. These Marines are not going to go home, I don't think. Link speed is just about to finish, but I guess he's trying to see if he can, well, still run them out. Metabolic boost, though, is going to finish up in just a few seconds' time. And if Reynor kills these, yeah, he's going to be in a really good spot to shut down the imminent attack here from the Terran. Like, this is right before Stimpack, right before 1-1. I would have really liked to see Terran move out until right about right here, force out all that Zergling production, and then go back home. I'm not sure why we decided to... Bit of an oddball there. Anyways, there's also rocks right behind the natural expansion. Even though the Zerglings can't cross this little bridge, they can certainly attack the blockade. Armory coming up right now for Maru, who did finish up 1-1, who is finishing up Stimpack. But I guess any timing attack that he could have gone for is now thrown out of the window. Honestly, a very strange play there. I think what Reynor's build order here... Yeah, it may have also confused Maru just a little bit, right? So he saw the very fast third. He may have noticed the very fast fourth as well. So maybe he assumed that this was straight into roaches, like the gasless version that Zerg players like to open up with quite a lot. Usually with that one, you don't get Zergling speed until you go up towards a hive. Maybe that's what Maru assumed he was playing against, and then he looks a bit foolish when the Zerglings do get their wings. Either way, 5th hatchery already coming right here for Reynor, who starts up a hive 6 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. That's insanely fast. 4th command center now also begins, though. So, yeah, Maru may have been planning on going for a big timing attack. Well, that ship has sailed. And I gotta say, this Overlord being allowed on that high ground, on this little pillar for such a long time, is also a little bit sloppy. I don't like that too much. Plenty of Zerglings available. Nice bait here by Reynor. Baiting out the cheeky Stimpack. It means that the Medivacs are going to be much lower in energy. Scanning the main base. That is not where the hive is building. Reynor is building it on the low ground. Maru wants to be checking for that, but he didn't see where the lair started up, so fair enough. I mean, he did see the infestation pit, so I guess that's still going to give him some intel, but not quite as much as he would really like to have. Big timing attack, though, still possible here for the Terran, with 2-2 finishing. It's going to make a very large power spike for those Marines and those Marauders. And if you can hit right before, for example, Adrenal Glands, or right before Ultras are out, or anything along those lines, right? Like anything at Hive Tech, he could still be in a phenomenal spot. There's the Adrenal Glands. No Ultra Cavern just yet, but I do believe that it is what Reynor is trying to get out, although for now he now sees this army. I don't know if he noticed the 4th command center earlier. Actually, the Overlord was still within the vision range of that one too. It's now flying towards the right here. Alright, he's got a very good tell on what Terran is going for, but it's also a bit of a strange game, right? Like, we've had very few losses, and we're 8 minutes in. Both players are getting close to maxing out, but there hasn't really been a fight yet. Neither player really committing to an attack. We had that little weird move out from Maru, but I can hardly describe it as a proper attack. How many units do you need? Now Maru is just bringing everything together. Bunch of Widow Mines here as well, but Drilling Claws wasn't even done. Zergling run by over here, ready to try and pick off some of those reinforcing units. Good splitties here. But what about the main attack? This choke point is really, really nice for Widow Mines. Good micro here, though, so far by the Italian Zerg player. But does he have the numbers? Wait, is he just gonna die? I mean, that fight was about as good as it could have been for Maru with some stellar splits. No, the Viper here is still available. Reynor has good eco. But what a strange way to start off this series. I think both players are having some very massive misreads. Problem right here for Reynor is that he just lost all those queens that were standing around over here. And this is a very larva-heavy unit composition. He doesn't have anything other than Ling Bane. So if he's not careful, yeah, he's running out of larva here. He's not going to be able to spend the money that he currently has. Queens are being reproduced, of course. But if Maru just keeps on his foot on the gas, I think he might just be able to continue, yeah, hammering down the Zerg. Reynor up to 1,500 minerals. Unable to spend. 5th command center in the meantime, though, is coming up. Look at this aesthetically pleasing main base, by the way, from Maru. I really like it when Terran's built in lines like that. Completely irrelevant to anything, but it does look nice. In the meantime, though, there's a multi-pronged attack right now from Maru. Bottom right attack is not going to achieve much. What about the one over here on the left? Ooh. That Widowmine turned out to be a traitor. Yes, you do deal splash damage to flying units as well, even when the Widowmine is hooked onto something on the ground. Great splits right here by Reynor, I do have to say, against those Widowmines. But I think this Ultra Cavern should have been done already. I wonder if maybe the +3 armor could have started up already instead of the +3 melee. Yeah, he fires it up right now. Maru, though, seconds away, really, from finishing up 3-3. And while this has been a weird way to start off the game, weird in the sense that we don't normally see this at a high level, but it's still very powerful, clearly. Yeah, I wonder if we can just keep parade pushing here. This is an important cleanup, though, for Reynor. He needs a little bit of wiggle room. He needs a bit of time to breathe. One thing he also needs, though, yeah, is chitinous plating. He tells it right now as well. He notices it in time. When you're making ultras... Oh, the splits here are excellent. When you're making ultras and you're not getting chitinous, you are doing something wrong. Still, though, Maru's back for more. +3/+3 is done right now. Lovely splits. Really good splits here by the Terran. So there's no siege tanks at all. This is just Marine Marauder Medevac Mine. The end result in his unit composition is not that weird, but the way in which Maru got here is a bit odd, to say the least. We started off with a triple Rex, donated a bunch of units, and then decided to just chill on 4 bases and start parade pushing all over the map. The real advantage he still has, though, from the early game is the speed at which he started up the double NG bay. Zerg is going to be able to at least stabilize in that department over the next minute or so, but Reynor is already starting to run out of juice. Ultras, though, do show up right now, but without chitinous, without +3 armor, yeah, Ultras are not very Ultra at all. These Marines and Marauders are all extremely low. Medevacs are completely out of energy, desperately trying to get whatever they can do for this army. Another stim gets activated, and Reynor just cannot stop the swarm of Terran units, which is a little bit ironic, coming from a Zerg. That right there was a Maru game and a half. Clearly a misread early on, but then Reynor, because of it, had a misread too. So Maru ends up sniping 2 drones with the first Reaper. He's like, wait a second. This guy's memeing. He's got an extremely fast third base. He's very likely opening up gasless. Therefore, he will not have Zergling speed, and I can march around the map with a group of random Marines and force out some Zergling production, maybe some Roaches. And you can outrun Roaches with Marines. So it's not really that big of an issue, right? He had some Medevacs coming. Yeah, he could bring them back home, more than likely. Maybe Stimpack was going to be needed, but they would be able to run. Then he moves across the map, loses a bunch of Marines, completely loses the potential to go for a 3-Rex type of timing attack. So instead we decide to just play a full macro game instead. Reynor scouts on the other side of the map, sees, wait a second, you just lost a bunch of Marines, what are you even doing? He has that Overlord up on the pillar, sees the 4th command center starts up, assumes the opponent is playing macro, so he starts up an extremely fast hive and all of the other transitions, but then Maru just comes across the map with Marine Marauder Medevac Mine. All of the problems that both of the players ran into in that particular game were very solvable, and in relatively easy ways as well. I guess it's just one of those games where you've never been in that spot before, even though maybe in isolation none of those moves are particularly strange. With all of the puzzle pieces stacked together, I guess it was a giant question mark for the both of them. Well, let's see if we can maybe have a bit of a mental reset here on Tokamak. It's going to be a barracks into a command center on the low ground. Yeah, maybe Maru has been watching some of those Hero games. Hero has been playing like an absolute clown, and I mean that in the most endearing way possible. I absolutely love what Hero has been playing lately, but he certainly does play like a bit of a clown. And that's exactly what makes him so scary. I mean, clowns are pretty scary. Let's be real. He's extremely entertaining to watch. And maybe Maru has been looking at those games like, wait a second, hold my beer. Hold my soju. I can do the same thing. Don't lose any... No. Okay. Don't lose any drones this time around. This is a much more conventional map, right? Tokamak. Okay. Nothing too odd. It's going to be a faster factory this time around. So triple command center into a good old double Hellion production here in just a moment. Usually I have found that being the defender in any strategy game really is much harder than being the aggressor. So maybe that was also one of those situations in that previous game, right? Where it was a little bit weird. Maru may have not moved out. Nice little snipe there on that creep tumor. He may not have moved out feeling too confident. But then ultimately he was the aggressor in an oddball of a game. And, well, he had a lot of units. And evidently, he still has the macro. Even if he has been playing a little bit less. Maybe he hasn't. Who knows? But even if he has been playing a little bit less, his macro was still very sharp. Okay. Reynor going into Zergling speed. Gas has been retaken. Do we go for a faster lair into a Baneling nest? Do we go double upgrades? Do we just go good old roaches? Because what Zerg ultimately wants to do is get up to 80-something workers and then eventually go up towards, like, say, Ultraling Bane or Lurkers into a Nidus Worm. Something along those lines. What is this? Blue Flame. Okay. Infernal Pre-Igniter Rush. We have a double factory opener here for Maru. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but the name that immediately comes up in my head when I see this type of strategy is Innovation. Like, Innovation was a Terran player who was probably the least innovative player that we've ever had. And at some point, I think people complained that he was too predictable. So he's like, okay, you know what? I have one trick. I will play macro pretty much all of the time. But whenever I feel like I can't play macro every single time, I will build a second factory and go Blue Flame Hellions. A build order that nobody did at the time. Yeah, it is going to be NG based on the back of this. So Maru will actually be playing bio. We're just starting off with what will hopefully for him be a drone barbecue. Well, you know what? There is no Roach Warren. It's going to be pure Zerglings. I think Reynor sees a bunch of additional Hellions. You can expect up to about 8 here. So 8 Hellions is normal. We have 12 already. You can't really produce that in this amount of time off of a single factory very comfortably. So let's see. They see me roasting. No armory, by the way, so this will just be Hellion mode! Oh, jeez, okay. Disaster has been... Oh, God. He made a wall off to prevent the Hellions from going in, but likewise, the drones were also prevented from going in. Okay, we are making walls upon walls upon walls. We're making walls, and we're trying to... Oh, jeez. It's ugly. It's ugly, but it works. Which is funny, because that's also what she said. Yeah, this has been 9 Hellions now for 22 Zerglings and 11 drones. So I guess it's okay. I think this is fine for Reynor. Yeah, I was a little hurt as well when she said that. Yeah, you know what? That was rude. That was rude of her. Reynor, though, decides to go Roach Warren. He was building one over here as part of the wall-off. Decided to cancel that one. A little bit conflicted about what he should play. And apparently we're going +1 melee, +1 missile now. Okay. Usually, you want to go Carapace, so you leave the option available to go Ultras. Not the case in this game. Reynor is going... full glass cannon. I guess that's the plan. We'll probably go like a Roach, Ravager, Ling Bane. Something along those lines here. It's a good unit composition against both Bio as well as Terran Mech. But it doesn't have that great of a late game in my mind. Either way, what the follow-up from Terran is, well, once more, an aesthetically pleasing setup. He had to hide that second factory, so I guess we can excuse it. Going for a faster drilling clause and a faster transition towards those Widow Mines here. Normally, we don't see Terran players do this until after the 4th command center. But yeah, I guess he had the structures done already. Still a pretty dang fast 4th command center, all things considered. So he will end up with a very similar situation. Clearly throwing Reynor off a little, but Reynor is not going to be all too bothered by it because he's already going into Neural Parasite. Now, we have to keep an eye out on what those infestors are planning, because what do you even neural? What do you neural? He's going to see that it's actually a bio transition right now. I wonder if he's going to cancel that upgrade. Getting the Neural Parasite here before Baneling speed is kind of crazy. Nice Widow Mine, nice... What's it called? Fungal Growth. There you go. StarCraft 2, one of the very few games where you can say nice fungal growth. Heavily frowned up in real life. Anyways. Ultra Cavern does fire up. Okay, Carapace right now. I feel like Neural Parasite is good in almost every scenario. Yeah, he's canceled it. But this is one of those unit compositions where it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, what are you gonna neural? A Medevac? A Widow Mine? Fun fact, Medevacs can heal anything that's biological. And that does include Zerg units, because they are all biological. I mean, you can Neural Parasite Medevacs and then heal Ultras with them. If you can pull that off... New viewer game challenge. Okay, no, that's gonna be difficult. But if you can pull that off and actually win against somebody like Maru, I will clickbait the hell out of this video. But no, he's already canceled it. It's not gonna happen. Cheeky little Widow Mine drop over here, though. He's been doing a good job dodging against the first few. Maru, though, picking up the pace now. 2-2, just about to finish. It's gonna give him a nice power spike, but we're already going into a 5th and a 6th command center. If you are enjoying this video, by the way, please take the second that it takes to hit the like button down below. It really does help. I noticed that whenever I do ask, and people do like the video, the video gets picked up by the algorithm so much more. So if you could do me a favor, it takes like 1 second, thank you. Here's the Widow Mine drop, though, coming in yet again. And this is something that we normally see against Protoss, but I love seeing it as well against Zerg. It's very APM intensive, so it takes a lot for a Terran player to pull this sort of thing off, but when you get that Drilling Claws upgrade, and keep in mind, with the latest patch, they did buff it a little bit. Yeah, this may actually be an excellent way to start things off. I really like this from Maru. So the quick double Blue Flame here is super nice, and then the double Factory Blue Flame, that is. And now some of those leftover units can be morphed into Hellbats too. They're gonna soak up some of those hits here from the Banelings. Spire in the meantime on the back of this, but Reynor really has not been comfortable this entire series long. Liberator's coming up already here for the Terran. He's already securing the forward base over here. Not normally the one that Terrans like to go for at this stage. Anyways, he's doing a great job as well, being the aggressor on the other side of the map. And look at this setup, man. Reynor is going to pull the trigger, but he doesn't know if he actually can. I don't disagree with him disengaging. He's got some roaches going in around the site, fair enough, but that was a very expensive trait there for the Zerg. Base still has to be given up on. Maru is absolutely wrecking Reynor. Oh, it's nice to see the absolute top dogs of StarCraft 2 competing. There's a reason that Maru has been so successful over the course of his career. And this is the type of series that just showcases it. It's not that Reynor is playing poorly, but Maru is pretending like he's an absolute bully in this series. It's also not necessarily that Maru is playing, you know, fantastically well. For example, that Marine group from the previous game was very weird. Circling run by over here, though. Maybe that can change the tide of the battle? It is going to force at least a lot of those Terran troops to run back home. Yeah, this has been a critical run by here from Reynor. This game looked like it was on the ropes. Yet again, the very best defense turns out to be the offense. Not enough units available here anymore now for the Terran to really stand their ground, so I would imagine that those Liberators are going to get sniped. The siege tanks, well, at least in some trouble. This game, though, has been phenomenal here from Maru. This is honestly the first time that he's been in trouble. That Zergling run by there, honestly, should be expected against somebody like Reynor. Reynor loves going for those run bys. But I would imagine that Reynor doesn't know about this base. No. It's such an oddball. Reynor has no idea about one of those bases. And you can just attack this, right? It's a pretty easy expansion to attack from the back. A couple of siege tanks being set up. Ghost production is already kicking in. We have the cloaking field coming up. Maru shifting gears yet again. He even built a sensor tower over here, which is a clear indicator that this base indeed is mining. Why otherwise would there be a sensor tower right over there? Push over here in the bottom right-hand corner. Do we have any fungals? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, not good. Looks like we had another Widowmine drop over at this base at the bottom of the map. There is an infestor sharking around. The thing is, Maru is only really right now beginning his orbital command production. So he's got 4 orbitals at this point. He's making 2 more. Well, I think these are probably going to get orbital command hats as well. So he is building up his eco right now. But he's already able to match the Zerg's economy. Like, this is Maru on a similar bank, similar eco. While having a significantly, more relevant orbital command count, right? So it's nice. This is a very comfortable spot right now for the Terran. Honestly, as long as he doesn't take a fungal to the face, this game is feeling like it's already in the bag. He's still improving. So that's one of the big problems here for the Zerg. Yeah, Zerg is getting Evo Chamber upgrades. Well, here we go. Fungal from the back! Fungal on all of the ghosts! Whoa, that was about the best fight Reynor could ever take, and he did need a little bit of luck and some very clean execution. Maru needs to stutter step his way back home now. Fungal coming in as well out of left field yet again. Gets the follow-up Fungal. Woo! Reynor pulling a rabbit out of a hat. An absolute magic trick here by the Italian Zerg. Trying his best to somehow, some way, run his way back into this match. And he may have just achieved what looked like the impossible thing. That Widowmine! Woo! Okay, that Widowmine hit was real nice. I mean, it killed a bunch of SCVs too, but that was painful. In the meantime, the Corruptor's going in. Trying her best. Not gonna be enough, though, to finish off the orbital command. Okay. Base over on the left side gets spotted. Reynor's still at 83 workers here in total. Let's see. Time to reset the aggression. Momentum not in favor of either player. Maru right now, though, like I was trying to say earlier, still improving his unit composition quite a lot. And that's one of the problems that Zerg players tend to run into. They get into this situation where they're unable to really progress their unit composition much. And they max out really quickly. But then they're kind of stuck. Maru's still going into both Liberators as well as Ghosts. As long as there's enough scans available, and as long as he's got missile turrets for detection, it should be quite difficult for those infestors to really find another fungal. That is why Maru is sprinkling them around the map. It's not for anti-air, it's for detection. Yeah, I don't like this Zerg late game army. I'm just... In my mind, right? If you picture 2 perfect players, you should never be able to get a big fungal off like the ones that we just saw. Now, obviously, StarCraft 2 is not a game where anybody is perfect, but it just feels like you're relying on a mistake from the opponent. And this, I mean, is another decent fungal, but I think the Terran has enough to just win this engagement regardless of the fungal. Yeah, I never like strategies where, like, your goal is to rely on a mistake from the opponent. And maybe that's the way that you have to play this style. But in theory, I think if Terran plays really well, they should be able to see most of those things coming in. There's a tiny little hit squad left over. Maru has been scanning all over the place, so I guess there won't be a ton of energy remaining right now for mule mining or anything along those lines. But he still has a good enough income, 66 workers, transferring some of those SCVs around. He did snipe the third base here from the Zerg. Scans are revealing that there is not a ton of mining, but this base over here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map could actually become problematic. Same for this one. If left uncontested, you should be able to get rid of it easy peasy. There we go. Still a small fight here on creep. You know, one thing I would really like to see is a fusion core. One of the main bottlenecks here for Maru is the energy regen in the medevacs. We don't yet have a fusion core, and we don't yet have the Liberator ranged upgrade because of it either. Maru, though, may very well not need it. He's already dominating the map. He's running around like he owns the place, and even though we haven't seen Maru play in a whole lot of events over the last couple of months, it is very clear to me that he still has it. He absolutely destroyed Reynor here in the series. Insane.